Con Stathopoulos and Josh Phegan come together in an incredible podcast, Grow, Scale, Master.
An energetic approach to drive progress, master skills, build strengths and put the strategy back into rapid business and personal success.
Backed by real-world experience in rapid scaling to playing the long-term game of business, it's the story of all the lessons learned on the journey to mastery.
Be inspired, renew your energy and chase the future with Grow, Scale, Master.
Con, today we are going to talk about one of my favourite things in business, which is the great Tim Cook quote, you know, the CEO of Apple, where he talks about people, strategy and execution.
Love it.
Now, this is a really amazing thing. I didn't realise, and then you realise that one of my favourite of all time has obviously been Would You Like Fries With That?
Yeah.
And that name Macca's hundreds of millions. And then, you know, the recent, Firms of the Future report that we've just put out, you remember reading the chapter there where we spoke about, keep the drive-through empty. Yep. And that was the thing where, rather than having everyone line up because they won't wait to order, but they will wait once they've ordered.
Correct.
And the interesting thing about that was like worth another $1 billion. And so like literally it's about learning how do I go to put a strategy in play that really nails it inside of my business. And so I want you to think about that. But let's talk about it. I know that, we did that great one the other week about the 8, different reporting mechanisms. But how important is it to have key people that can take pressure or take load, but just do a role without you having to worry?
Mate, I think it's obvious. It's very important, but I think it's important for the right reasons. So are you in growth mode?
Yeah.
So therefore you need infrastructure to be able to support you directly in that growth mode. Are you in maintenance mode, which means you might need some more care and time out of the business to be able to, focus on life. But also, I think, you're only ever going to be as good as the team that you assemble. And, and I think the clarity around getting the people right, I think for us in our business, mate, we've got a philosophy, good people make great real estate professionals. So we've been really meticulous about who comes into our business, whether in operations, leadership, sales, property management, but then it's being able to empower them with a really good JD, job description, so it's very clear on what the outcomes are, and it's very measurable. And I think that, whether you're in growth mode, maintenance mode, you're into whatever mode, retirement mode, succession planning, you need the right people surrounding you.
Yeah. And I think that this is the big thing for a lot of people is that like beyond like those people, have you actually then empowered them with a strategy that that's going to win?
Yeah.
So I'll give you an idea. A lot of people are what we might go to call like tactically excellent, but strategically negligent. So let me give you an idea. Your market's slowed all of a sudden, but you still do an open every Saturday. But no one's turning up.
Yeah, but you still do it.
Yeah, but don't you need to adjust marketing or pricing or sale method or more buyer work
or more open homes or different open homes or whatever?
Do something.
Do something. Yeah.
So, but that's that whole key thing is that like when you really think about it, the role of strategy is to say, okay, great. So, Con, here are the conditions of the day. What do we need to go and do next?
Yep.
So, okay, great. So the conditions are this is what we need to do next. Con, we are so hot right now on 3-bedroom homes worth $1 million. Great. What market appraisals, past clients can we ring that own one of those?
Correct.
Hey, Con, you know what? We need more 4-bedroom homes because these 3-bedroom sellers don't want to sell until they find one.
Correct.
Okay, great. What streets are they in? What market appraisal are they in? What past clients are they in? Other people that we should go and talk to. And so when you start to think about it, like it's actually then like getting and setting that strategy.
Yeah, but you know what I see the blind spot there is with people with strategy. They don't take time to think.
Yeah. That's, and your best thinking is probably your way.
That's exactly right. But mate, the best thinking as well is, I've gone through this. I've got mad ADD, right?
Yeah.
Thanks for your
yes. Yeah.
I've had Notion, I've had Trello, I've had Monday, I've had Sunday, I've had Friday, I've had every type of technology.
Yeah.
I've had notes, reminders, an A3 piece of paper with a pen, writing out things that are in your brain and looking at where are the gaps in your business, where are the opportunities.
What do you see me carry everywhere I go every time I meet with you?
That's exactly right.
Little Josh Phegan book with the pens.
Yeah. Correct, right? So what I'm getting to is that people are not investing. So people will invest time on their bodies. They'll go to the gym.
Yeah.
They'll invest time in holidays. They'll invest time in their business. They'll put capital and whatnot, but they're not thinking about strategic advantages or moves that will enable them to achieve X, Y, or Z.
So let's keep it really simple. I think strategy probably sits in probably 3 areas in most businesses.
Yeah.
So what's our sales strategy?
Yes.
So that's important. And some of these are already hard baked.
Yeah.
Auction orientation, vendor paid marketing, XYZ.
Yep.
But our strategy right now in sales is that we're going to need to really concentrate on buyer work and seller work to bring transactions together as an example. Okay. Secondary conversation on that. What's our strategy in PM? Why this is actually a really important foundational piece. Let's say that you guys got 100 new managements. How many of those new managements were people that were bringing new supply, so they're buying an apartment, turning into that, versus how many of those people were takeovers, so they were with XYZ competitor and you took it over. So I think that's a really important part, because like that's awesome. So sales, and then property management, and then the next one is then operations.
Yes.
So is that a new facility, for example, in your Castle Hill office, or technology, infrastructure, whatever. Yeah. But this is really important to get it right. And then the last thing is then getting to execution. Now, you're a great executor. Hopefully you think I'm okay.
But you run rings around me because you can do it. I know where my blind spots are.
Yeah.
So when I can build that strategy, I can build people. I'm really good at execution on the right things. No, seriously.
Which is good.
And I've learned that. It's taken me a long time. I thought I was brilliant at everything, and then I realized, oh no, I'm not. There's other people in my business that are way better than that, that then free me up to absolutely nail what I've got to do.
So now I'm going to say something. Who's the head of sales in your business?
Yes.
So as an example, you've got some people that help to facilitate that. It's probably technically you, but you've got, Riley and Ed and Ned and
Sam.
All of those that rhyme.
Yep.
So you've got those that's sitting there.
Yep.
And then the next conversation, who's your head of PM?
Yep, Tamsin.
So you got that. It's okay, great. And then who's your head of ops?
Yep.
It's
Kiara.
Yeah,
right,
Kiara.
Right. But Emily and Rachel, but
Emily,
Kiara.
Definitely.
Yep.
And so you go, okay, great. Guys, I'm just going to sit down with you and say, this is where we're going to take the business this year.
That's exactly right.
Now, what do we need to do strategically in sales?
Yep.
Or what do we need to do in PM? Or what do we need to do in ops? And if you've got that documented, like in one document that you can review.
Yes.
And every quarter you're rechecking back in to go, are we close on that?
Yes.
Have conditions changed? We need to adapt. Then that makes a huge difference in their overall performance, right?
Can you teach execution? I mean, the answer is yes, you can.
So you did this the best. Do you remember that you've actually done your hack days?
Yes, I did. I do. Yes, I did.
Yes, it did. But that whole idea is that, okay, great. Hey guys, so we're just going to sit down here, and this is where you've got to teach leadership, right? Because, we've got young people, we've got older people, we've got people that have been in different business models that are now coming to this business model. And what you've got to do is you've got to say, okay, great. Here is an A3 piece of paper and a pen.
Yeah.
Map it out for me. So I'm going to draw it, but you tell me what the next steps are. So you pressure test them to get you to say, okay, great, what are the next steps? So let's have a look at it. AML is going to come into Australia, right?
Yes.
So money laundering. Anti-money laundering. so when you think about that, so what does that mean?
Correct.
So what is AUSTRAC requirements? What's our registration process?
Yep.
Then what do we need to do? Do we have a podcast? Do we have a video? Do we have a checklist that we send to the buyer and or the seller to meet their legal requirements? How do we capture that information? What system would we need? What is that going to look like as it comes out?
Yeah.
And you write all of those things out. And then, okay, great, who's impacted by this? And how do we make sure they're aware of the workflows and what some options might be? And then how do we then make sure that then we roll it out, into a couple of people, then more broadly an office, then more broadly a section, and then more broadly the whole thing, and to get it together?
Mate, so if you're listening to this, just replay that part. I'm really serious, because the way that you just thought about that, I'm telling you right now, 9 out of 10 real estate businesses are not going to be prepared for AML 1st of July. They'll be registered. They'll have some sort of service provider, but they have not thought about the external customer journey. And this is exactly what strategy is. And this is exactly what getting people is to execute. So really, that was gold.
So think about this. So a buyer's going to turn up at an auction. If we need to have extra ID, how do you get the money? How do you get the deposit?
Do you open homes and your registrations need to be longer? Do you need to have technology? Have you thought about, is there internet access?
Yeah.
All that type of stuff. What's the customer experience? Can you do we do pre-registrations first?
So if you just nail one or two strategies and you have it documented, and we think about people strategy execution, surely you're helping to build towards clarity as opposed to avoiding the confusion.
Absolutely you are.
So the problem for someone like you get stimulated quite a lot because you see lots of different people and lots of different businesses, and you're around lots of things inside of the McGrath network and Bailey's and others, right? But then you've got to have the discipline that when you bring it home and you speak to the CEO and you say, so this is what I'm thinking of doing, that she runs it through a filter and goes, not on, because we're building balance sheet this year, or we're paying down debt, or we're expansion.
I think that's
awesome. Let's go.
Yeah, correct. But I think that's alignment. I think it's actually, what are you trying to do? You're trying to, drop your LVR. You're trying to increase your asset base. You're preparing for an exit. This is where, planning, which is part of strategy, around which horizon that you're in, and where do you want to play? And if you don't have those elements right, then it's really hard to execute on anything that's worthwhile. It really is.
Experiences that rapidly shaped you.
Colin, this is a great one. And I remember like I was going through this position where I was moving to Sydney and that was big and I wanted to buy a property the first time and, I could meet the cash flow requirements, but I was a bit short on the deposit at the time. And I remember ringing Dad and I'm like, oh, mate, can I just have an extra, a couple extra grand in the account, so I can meet the deposit requirement. And Dad sort of turned to me and he said, he goes, nah. And I was like, what? I was like, he said, no.
What?
And I remember I was like, whoa. And literally it was kind of a thing. And anyway, so things went on for a bit and so I just saved more money and I got to the point and anyway, I ended up buying the property and everything landed. And then anyway, Dad rang me up one day. He goes, oh, mate, I'm in town. I'll come and see you. I said, okay, great. By the way, I've got a new address. And he said, what? And so he came over to my house and he goes, oh, mate, what do you pay for this in rent? I said, mate, I don't pay rent. I bought it. He goes, how'd you do that? I said, mate, your old school rule, when it's your own money, you can do whatever you want. and I think that this is an awesome thing. I was very lucky that he taught me the power to take control of your own financial responsibility for what you want to do as a person.
Yeah. One idea that's rapidly shaping my view right now is we just spoke about planning. So we're coming into the third quarter of this financial year. So have we actually planned for what's next? What's around the corner that we can't see in terms of market conditions and whatnot, but also what is it that you're up for? Let's use the next 90 days to be able to absolutely nail budgets, forecasts, cash flows, balance sheet growth, personally, professionally, and be able to make sure that we got complete visibility because then we can execute brilliantly.
Something that's changing your view.
I always just think about it like inside of an organisation. So what's the role? Who's the person in that role? And how good are they at playing in that role? And so I always just think about that. Have I got, like we've got a role, but like we've got someone who's not that interested in it, or I've got someone who's in the role who's not yet good enough, or I've got someone who's in the role who's a bit tired. And I would say to you that like I have never probably come across so many people that are exhausted or tired in leadership roles in business.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that a lot of that's got like guys, hey, get rid of the heaviness. Breathe in. We live in one of the best countries in the world.
Yep.
You've got one of the most amazing opportunities in a very dynamic, very regulated environment.
Yep.
And all you got to do is turn up and find somebody who wants to buy, somebody who wants to sell, find somebody who wants to have their property managed, somebody who's already with another agency they don't love to get them to come across to yours, and be energetic and dynamic. And I've never had anyone go, hey, Con, I want to work for you because, mate, I heard that you're extremely depressive. And not do we need bipolar high either, but what you need is solid, sound leadership with really clear vision and the ability to adapt on the fly for when the plan doesn't land, to know what to do next to be able to make the best of the opportunities in front.
I've got two things on that. The first one is are you good enough to be better?
Yes.
Because if you are, you can fall back in love with what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because it's not always going to be perfect.
Yeah.
But I think what happens is we always pull the eject button a little bit too quick.
Yeah.
And we fall out of love with it.
Which is the Kyrgios and McConaughey chat.
You got it.
Yeah.
Can you fall? That's, mate.
So
that's what I thought I'd just come up with that.
No.
You're absolutely right.
So what McConaughey had said is it like, hey, what do you want? And Kyrgios is like, how do I win the Australian Open? This is last year. And then he goes, mate, I'm not a tennis coach, but I can say this. What would actually just happen if you fell back in love with tennis?
That's exactly right.
If you just placed every ball, every shot.
Just loved it.
Tried to do every serve.
What would that look like?
Just played to win the game. Let that win the set. Let that win the match. Let that win the championship.
So imagine if we did that.
Do you reckon that we do? Do you reckon that people come in and say, I love making calls. I love calling my past clients. I love connecting with people.
No, I don't. And I think that that's part of the thing that people struggle with.
Are they too transactional?
Yeah, they are, but they're also too transactional with themselves.
So guess what I've learned? I say, hey, Con, can you tell me who your top 100 customers are of all time? And people go, oh. And then I go this way. Can you tell me who your favourite 50 are? Yeah. I love them and them and them and then. And so this is what you got to start to think about. Is it like maybe just go with the favourite 50 and that'll turn into the top 100?
There you go.
So, and there was a second thing you were going to say.
Yeah, are you good enough to be better?
Well, that was the first thing.
Yeah, the second one is can you fall in love?
Okay, great. Okay.
Cut that out.
But I'm just trying to get you to think that everything inside of your business is get the people right, get the strategy right, get the execution. If you've got someone in a role and they're unclear of what the strategy needs to be, or the conditions have changed and they've never done that before, bring someone like you in to sit next to them and spitball a couple of options.
Yep.
And you will solve more things with a pen and a piece of paper than probably anything else.
Do you know what? We did this with Amit when he first joined, right?
Yeah.
So he was writing $1 million.
I call him Amit. You go with Amit.
I know it's Amit. It's Amit. Anyway, he doesn't mind. So he genuinely doesn't mind.
Yeah.
So he was writing $1 million, working 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And all we did is he came in, his first coaching session with me. We sat down, A3 piece of paper and a pen, and I drew a line down the middle and I said, "What do you love?
Yeah.
What do you hate?"
Yeah.
And then we just worked on getting the stuff, either from I hate that, but move it into the love category.
Yeah.
Or I hate that, you never need to touch it ever again.
And you are not allowed to hate prospecting and listing if you're an agent.
Well,
wrong job role.
You're not in real estate. That's exactly right.
No, you're either.
Correct. Yeah. You're in the. Yeah, that's exactly right. So, let's take some time. Let's see if we can fall back in love with what we're doing. Let's use the next 90 days to really bed down a rock solid plan. Simply nail the basics, raise your standards, execute brilliantly. You'll have your best financial year ever.